After a fiery collision in Los Angeles, the search for clues and victims. And in the war, Iraqi gunners shoot 2 U.S. warplanes out of the sky. This is the CBS Evening News. Bob Schieffer reporting. Good evening. There are 2 major stories tonight. That freak accident at the Los Angeles International Airport and the Gulf War, of course. Iraq fired more Scud missiles into Israel and Saudi Arabia tonight. So far, though, no reports of damage. We're going to start with the Friday night collision of the jetliner and a commuter plane. Richard Roth in Los Angeles has today's developments.
At daylight, with rescue efforts over, work resumed on 2 tasks still facing authorities at Los Angeles Airport: counting the dead and finding the cause. SkyWest Airlines confirmed today all 12 passengers and crew aboard its commuter plane were killed in the collision with the U.S. Air jet, raising the known death toll to at least 18. Accident investigators said they could barely make out the remnants of the small plane beneath the wreckage of the jetliner.
I'm not sure whether that complicates or simplifies the task there, because you can get to a stage of damage that it interferes with your ability to document.
Instrument data and voice recorders from the jet were recovered and sent to Washington for analysis. Observations at the crash scene and taped control tower conversations will be early clues to determining why the accident occurred. But survivors have already told what happened when the 2 planes collided. A thud and a burst of flame on impact, the force of the inbound U.S. air jet skidding the wreckage across a taxiway more than 100 yards to a crash stop at an unused utility building. It left skid marks burned onto the tarmac and long minutes of horror on the memories of those who lived through it.
And all of a sudden there's a thud, big flash on the port side, and we start sliding. Long way we're sliding, and there's fire on the outside on the engine.
There is no way I can get out from the front, the regular entrance. So when I looked back, there were about 3 seats behind of me. Just there was an exit opened already. So I jumped down there.
Then we got out on the wing, which was hot, and there was flame, and we had to jump.
Hospitals treated more than 24 passengers. At least 3 were in critical condition. Ronald Givens was well enough to be released today, but surviving the accident changed his mind about air travel.
Never again. Never.
SkyWest, the commuter carrier, said investigators are trying to determine if miscommunication between the tower and one of the pilots was what caused the crash, by putting both planes in the same place, tragically, at the same time. Richard Roth, CBS News, Los Angeles.
With fewer air controllers handling more and more traffic, experts say that airplane collisions are accidents waiting to happen. We have more on that now from correspondent David Dow.
The Los Angeles accident appears to have been just the kind of tragedy national transportation officials have worried about when they put better runway safety on their annual most wanted list. What's happening on the ground reflects the growing congestion in the air.
There is no room for error on the part of either pilot or controller. That's the bottom line.
At the nation's major airports, there's been an annual average of nearly 300 runway incursions in recent years. Aircraft at the wrong place at the wrong time. Some such incidents involved close calls, a few death. 8 persons died in the collision of 2 Northwest Airlines jets on a Detroit runway 2 months ago. 8 months earlier, a private pilot died when an Eastern Airlines jet ran over his small plane on a runway at Atlanta's airport. And the worst aviation disaster in history occurred on a runway in the Canary Islands in 1977, when 2 jumbo jets collided, killing 583. The cause of those accidents varied. The cause of last night's Los Angeles accident hasn't been disclosed yet, but some experts believe that a stressed air traffic system ensures there will be more.
We don't know that that had anything to do with this accident yet, but the air traffic control system of the United States is like an overly stretched rubber band. It's been stretched as far as it can.
At the Los Angeles airport, the nation's 3rd busiest, controllers handled 2,000 takeoffs and landings a day. So many that some controllers have a nickname for rush hour operations, when arriving and departing aircraft may be separated by just 2 miles. Squeeze plays.
That means that when an aircraft is told that he is cleared for an immediate takeoff, that he is expected to be ready to go, take the runway, and depart promptly.
Last night's accident may have been a squeeze play gone awry. If so, the question is why. David Dow, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, the latest on the war, including Eric Engberg on tonight's Scud missile attacks, and Jacqueline Adams on friendly faces behind enemy lines.
Hey, Karen, what are you doing?
I'm trying to top Total.
You mean ounce for ounce mix a bowl of cereal with more vitamin and mineral nutrition than Total?
That's right.
You don't have enough calcium.
Well, just give me a minute here.
Okay, we'll be back.
Dean Witter believed one thing that should distinguish his brokers is their ability to listen.
Listen not only to what our clients say, but what they mean.
I have a vision about retirement. I know
each client has a level of comfort.
You know me. I'm a planner.
There is no greater dividend a firm can earn than the confidence of its clients.
You've helped me make some good decisions.
There are many ways to measure success.
We measure success one investor at a time.
Red Lobster introduces something new, something delicious. It's our specially priced new Shrimp Sensations dinner, just $7.99. With the tang of succulent new shrimp Veracruz and the flair of zesty new Parmesan fried shrimp, together with popcorn shrimp. All this just $7.99 for a limited time, but only at Red Lobster. So hurry.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover.
Time's up, and you still don't have as much calcium as Total.
Well, there's got to be enough here in one of these.
Nope, not one of those has the calcium of an equal amount of Total. For vitamin and mineral nutrition, nothing can top Total. Nothing.
It's a little late, but thanks for the information.
After a brief pause, Iraq was back in the Scud missile business again tonight, launching more missiles at Saudi Arabia and Israel. Eric Engberg's in Saudi Arabia and has more on these latest attacks. Eric?
Bob, we have reports of 2 missiles being launched, one at Saudi Arabia and one at Israel. The missile that was fired at Saudi Arabia was headed toward the capital of Riyadh. It was overhead in the capital when the air defense Patriot batteries were fired at the missile and took the Scud out overhead. Parts of debris were clearly seen on the ground after that attack. Now, in the Israeli attack, Patriots were not fired, and the missile did hit in a part of Tel Aviv. It is a part that is near the unoccupied West Bank. Israeli officials said there was no damage and no one was hurt in that attack on Israel, Bob.
All right, thank you, Eric. This would suggest, it seems to me, that these Scuds are posing more of a danger than we had come to believe in recent days.
Well, the Air Force is clearly having its trouble taking out the last remaining Scud missile launchers that Saddam Hussein is known to possess. In fact, the Air Force pilots use the term needle in a haystack. And in the last few days, they have mounted a new tactic against the Scuds, which is to fly pilots over Iraq at night looking for the actual flashes from the launchers when the Scuds are launched in the hopes that they'll be able to eyeball them and take them out that way.
Okay, Eric Engberg. The United States lost 2 more warplanes today in Iraqi gunfire, an Air Force A-10 and a Navy A-6, and another U.S. Marine was killed. But the Pentagon also claims a significant success. We have more on that now from Ron Allen.
U.S. forces last night achieved another major objective when they destroyed more Iraqi patrol boats like this one hit earlier. The enemy's small navy could have threatened Allied warships with sophisticated Exocet missiles. But U.S. commanders now say another threat has been eliminated.
The Iraqi Air Force is totally ineffective. The Iraqi Navy is totally ineffective. So 2 of his 3 pillars are not effective. On the 3rd.
That's Iraq's ground force, dug in again after several incursions across the border into Saudi Arabia and an attempt to reposition their forces, which attracted heavy Allied bombardment. Today there were relatively few artillery exchanges as U.S. warplanes continued trying to weaken the Iraqis' will to fight.
It would be a serious mistake to think that the Iraqi army was in a state of disarray north of the border at this time.
An assessment that once again suggests a ground offensive is inevitable. But the Bush administration insisted again today that more risky phase of the war will be conducted only when the U.S. is ready.
We will be able to do on the ground essentially what we've been able to do in the air, and that is to be successful.
But the cost creeps higher. Another Marine has died, and 2 others were wounded when their convoy was hit apparently by a cluster bomb. And like some of the 11 Marines killed earlier this week, the American casualties may have been mistakenly caused by American firepower.
You hope that that sort of thing doesn't happen, but on the other hand, in modern warfare, given the nature of the battlefield, sometimes it does happen.
The military is still investigating both incidents of suspected friendly fire. The Pentagon insists precautions are in place, but the incident further illustrates how more deadly war can be when it's fought on the ground. Bob?
Thank you, Ron. The battle for the Saudi border town of Khafji is over and Allied troops are back in control. U.S. Marines involved in the fighting there talked today of just how fierce it was. Juan Vasquez reports.
The Marines returned to Khafji along roads littered with the debris of combat. It is a ghost town where soldiers tread carefully out of fear of snipers and booby traps.
You guys might want to watch out for any ordnance too.
A Marine patrol trapped inside the city during the fighting came back to Khafji today to reconstruct the battle for commanding officers.
It's a target we're trying to take out all day.
From the roof, they were able to direct Allied fire onto enemy positions, but just 1 floor beneath them, Iraqi soldiers had moved in to secure the building.
We burnt all our crypto. We were ready to fight out. I don't know what everyone else's mind was, but I wasn't getting taken alive. And the only time we stopped shaking, I should speak for myself, was when I was calling in fire, and it was devastating.
Eventually, the Iraqis were forced to abandon the building, and the Marines called in artillery on Iraqi soldiers and armored vehicles close to their own position.
That took a lot of guts to call that artillery fire right in on top of himself.
Today, Khafji is held by Saudi soldiers, who, along with troops from neighboring Qatar, did most of the fighting and most of the dying among the Allied forces. U.S. forces also contributed by employing helicopter gunships against the Iraqis, the first time a Marine attack helicopter has ever engaged and destroyed enemy tanks.
It impacted the turret and blew about half the turret off, and just orange flash, a lot of smoke.
On Baghdad radio, they are calling the battle for Khafji an Iraqi victory. But Allied officers say virtually all the Iraqis who entered the town were either killed, wounded, or captured. Juan Vasquez, CBS News, Eastern Saudi Arabia.
The Allied bombing campaign against Iraq is causing some resentment and protest in neighboring Jordan. Doug Tennell now with that.
Jordan buried its first war dead today, 3 truck drivers whose vehicles were attacked by Allied warplanes on a highway in Iraq. They were all civilians from a nation that is officially neutral in the Gulf War, but that views the bombing campaign with mounting outrage and disgust.
We have seen big bombers parading over the skies of Iraq and dropping their gifts to the Iraqis, not in a specific way, not to specific targets, but all over.
Every evening in Amman, the TV broadcasts scenes like these from Baghdad, a city just across the desert, as distant and dissimilar as Los Angeles and San Francisco. In the Arabic of survivors, Jordanians hear the anger only a few Iraqis can express in English.
This is not a game. Those are human lives. Human lives. Children and elderly and women.
For people here, it doesn't matter that Iraqi TV does not broadcast the stories of military targets hit by Allied bombs. The stories of the children caught up in the war are convincing enough. This is what Jordanians have seen of the town of Basra, Iraq's second largest city, a military staging area for Kuwait, but also home for 1.5 million Iraqis. The bombing has been intense here. The true casualty toll may not be known for months.
What is happening now, the pulverization of Iraq, I mean, this is not just inhuman. It boggles the imagination. It's a science fiction atmosphere. It is not equal to the God-forsaken deed of the Iraqis.
And so each day the bombing of Iraq continues, the anger grows in Jordan. There is a groundswell calling for the Allied air campaign to stop and warning of a backlash against the West if it does not. Doug Tennell, CBS News, Amman.
Iraq's deputy prime minister left Tehran today after delivering a message from Saddam Hussein to Iranian President Rafsanjani. Contents of the message are not known, but Iran claims it protested the arrival in Iran of some 90 Iraqi aircraft since the start of the war. In a radio address declaring tomorrow a National Day of Prayer, President Bush asked Americans today to pray for the safety of U.S. troops in the Gulf. He asked for prayers for those who, he said, make the supreme sacrifice and for those who are held prisoner.
Everybody needs some money sometime. Everybody needs some cash sometime.
If you need to send money fast,
hello, Tim.
come to any of Western Union's 16,000 locations. Or to send money by phone, call 1-800-CALL-CASH.
My heart just told me my sometime is now.
Western Union, fastest way to send money.
Milk-Bone dog biscuits, dog treats, and flavor snacks. Happy Valentine's Day.
The day may come when all refrigerators will keep 12-ounce spills from spilling all over. But only Whirlpool has refrigerators that will do it today.
Our volunteer of the year is Doris Craig.
It's terrific how Depend changes people's lives. And there's a terrific change in Depend elastic leg undergarments. It's called AbsorbLock, a unique leakage protection system that locks in 25% more. It'll do wonders for your confidence and get you back into life. Thank you so much. Get back into life with Depend. With AbsorbLock protection.
I'm Charles Kuralt. It's not a movie, it's a real war, and it's hitting home. We'll cover the home front this Sunday morning.
Ronald Reagan believed that the threat of nuclear war could be ended by building a system of defensive missiles, some of them based on platforms in outer space, which would be capable of shooting down enemy missiles aimed at America. The system was nicknamed Star Wars, but as more and more questions were raised about its feasibility, research funds for it were drastically cut back. Well, this week the administration seized on one of the technological successes of this war to revive Star Wars. And that's tonight's page from our Washington Notebook.
Now, with remarkable technological advances like the Patriot missile, we can defend against ballistic missile attacks aimed at innocent civilians.
What the president seemed to be saying was that the Patriot success against incoming Scuds over Israel and Saudi Arabia proves it is possible to defend against the horror of any kind of missile attack on an American city. Some in Congress were even more direct.
Now that we have seen the success of the Patriots, so our bullet going up into the sky intercepts the bullet coming in, it will be a real impetus, a real shot in the arm for the Strategic Defense Initiative to be funded and to proceed.
So perhaps it was not coincidence that the Pentagon chose this week to release animation and pictures of a successful Star Wars interception by a missile of a missile out in space, only the second time that has happened. And now we learn the new budget the Pentagon will release Monday calls for spending $1.7 billion more for Star Wars than had been approved earlier. As the Vice President told it today, the Patriots have shot down the arguments against a space-based Star Wars system.
A lot of anti-strategic defense folks are going to have to rethink their position.
The problem with all this is that the Patriot system has very little in common with the Star Wars concept.
They've repackaged it, but inside the package, it's the same old Star Wars program. It's still a space-based system, which would be irrelevant to dealing with these shorter-range missile threats like the Scud.
As planners envision it, Star Wars would use missiles based in space to intercept missiles in space, which would make it of little use against weapons like the Scud, which fly much closer to the Earth.
The missile would take off and land before the system even came into operation. They couldn't be targeted from outer space.
And there is another major difference, the nuclear factor. As we have learned in recent weeks, some Scuds do get through. To be effective against nuclear weapons, a Star Wars defense would have to be perfect.
When a Scud gets through a defense, you lose a grocery store. When SDI lets a warhead through, you're going to lose an entire city.
And that is why critics of Star Wars say that as good as the Patriots have proven to be, what they have really shown is that no such system guarantees total security.
You just couldn't resist eating the last of that crunchy, sweet crackling oat bran. How do you avoid being blamed?
Hey, Tiger. You never saw Daddy eat the crackling oat bran.
Hiya, sweetie. You didn't eat all the crackling oat bran, did you?
With the crunchy, sweet taste of Kellogg's crackling oat bran, an open box is an empty box.
Well, I thought college kids didn't need sleep. You need coffee.
I got that.
Freeze-dried? Welcome to Coffee 101. See, mine's darker. It's decaffeinated Folgers crystals from mountain-grown beans.
Well, classes ended yesterday.
Mine's still darker. Taste.
This is good.
Now you're talking.
Hey, I am, aren't I?
Decaffeinated Folgers crystals, so dark and rich. Shouldn't you switch?
Now's the time for Centrum Silver, because you're over 50 and you're out there swinging. Centrum Silver, a complete vitamin formula for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
The same medicine found in the prescription drug Motrin.
Same as in Motrin, in non-prescription strength.
If you want the same medicine found in prescription Motrin, wouldn't it just be simpler to ask for Motrin IB? Non-prescription strength Motrin IB. Accept no alternatives.
The 2 U.S. warplanes shot down today by Iraqi gunners carried a total of 3 crewmen. Officials would not say where the planes went down because search and rescue operations are underway. Well, that is where elite Air Force units come in, and Jacqueline Adams has a report.
450, 40, 30, slow it to a creep. Ropes on the ground, first man on, second man on, low, third man on.
They're not top guns. They call themselves bottom rungs. These Air Force PJs or parajumpers and the helicopter pilots who fly them. But for a fighter pilot shot down behind enemy lines, these paramedics in the sky can be the difference between life or capture or even death.
To have, a rescue force there available to them is a great comfort.
Why?
So they can fly again, so they don't have to continually think, oh my God, if I'm shot down, I will not get rescued.
Over the beaches of Long Island, the 106th Air Rescue Wing has stepped up its training.
Because in a desert, environment, then it'll be a high-speed getaway.
And many flyers wish they were in the Persian Gulf to pull off actions like the one last month when a chopper crew protected by air cover flew deep behind enemy lines to rescue a Navy F-14 Tomcat pilot shot down 8 hours before.
It's really exciting, the fact that the guy can punch out and we can go in and grab him and bring him back to safe ground.
Military pilots have always looked out for one another. When George Bush was shot down in World War II, his fellow pilot steered him to a life raft and drove off the enemy. In Vietnam, air rescue squads were famous for saving fighter pilots.
I could hear people hammering not far away, and I knew they were building a gallows.
Former Air Force Chief of Staff General Mike Dugan was rescued.
One saw a very pleasant sight of American fighting men coming in to pick up another one that had some difficulty. It was a warm, healthy feeling.
But after the Vietnam War, this specialty began to fade. Air Force strategists doubted that air rescues could be effective on a nuclear battlefield. Desert Storm, though, has given the Air Rescue Wings a shot in the arm.
It's quite a feeling to know that your mission is to go to save a life, instead of to take one out.
Rescue pilots always remember and never forget that if they didn't risk their lives, there'd be more POWs and MIAs.
Get out of here. On to go.
Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, West Hampton Beach, New York.
This is the last night to mail a letter before the rates go up. Starting tomorrow, it will cost 29 cents to send a letter first class.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered the 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes. With Just for Men.
How fast does Dristan nasal spray start working to clear up congestion?
Already? That's fast. It's starting to work already.
Dristan nasal spray starts to work in seconds.
The sun is bright and warm, but it's also sweet. The proof? Delicious sun-sweet pitted prunes, made from sweet, luscious, sun-ripened plums. No wonder they're called sun-sweet. Only one prune tastes sun-sweet.
To protect the lives of firefighters, DuPont developed a remarkable fire-resistant fiber for their clothing called Nomex. But perhaps even more remarkable is how it protects those who never even wear it. At DuPont, we make the things that make a difference.
No new word tonight on the fate of 4 missing CBS newsmen. It's been 12 days now since war correspondent Bob Simon, producer Peter Bluff, cameraman Roberto Alvarez, and soundman Juan Caldera disappeared in Saudi Arabia near the Kuwaiti border. This is the 6-month anniversary of Iraq's invasion of Kuwait. For 18 days now, Allied forces have been trying to drive the Iraqis out. Bruce Morton has some thoughts on why this war is different from the others before it.
What's unique about this war is that Americans can watch it on TV just about 24 hours a day. They don't get a constant stream of new information. A lot of the pictures are censored by one side or another. A lot of reporters are broadcasting live while they themselves are still trying to figure out what's going on. But it is nonstop. Vietnam was 2 or 3 stories on the evening news. This kind of video intensity is new. And it's bound to affect the way Americans feel about the war, especially now that the dead have started coming home. TV will show a lot of funerals. This may be good. Wars take young lives. Citizens of countries at war need to know that. General Norman Schwarzkopf, the commander of U.S. forces in the Gulf, said this week war is going to kill people. If the American people find that sobering, I don't think that's unhealthy. Schwarzkopf aims at making the cost in American lives as low as possible. Coalition spokesmen have been saying all week we're in no hurry to go to a ground war. Airstrikes will go on for a time. Bombing alone probably can't win the war. London didn't surrender after Hitler's Blitz, neither did Hanoi after the American air raids of that war. But bombing can make a very big difference. The Iraqi troops in Kuwait need supplies. Coalition spokesman said this week supplies were down to 10% of normal. If that's true, accurate numbers are scarce in war, and if it can be maintained, then the Iraqis will start to run out of things, run out of food and gasoline and ammunition. And that will make the final costs of the ground war, when it comes, much less to the American troops. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Washington.
In updating today's developments, Iraq launched more Scud missiles tonight, 2 volleys at Israel, 1 at Saudi Arabia. At least 1 Scud reportedly hit a populated area of Tel Aviv. Damage is reported in Riyadh. No reports of casualties yet in either country. Another U.S. Marine was killed today, and 2 more U.S. warplanes were shot down. That's the news. I'm Bob Schieffer.
Georgetown unleashes its Twin Towers against DePaul tomorrow.
This is CBS.
The Peter Pan Fan Club is now in session. Moose, minutes from our last meeting.
About 12 minutes.
Okay. Now, let's review tactics for recruiting new members.
Stick a jar of peanut pan under their noses.
Aggressive, but good.
Tell them there's 780 freshly roasted peanuts in every jar. Yeah.
Excellent.
Give them a bite of your own sandwich.
Polite and unselfish. We're going to need a bigger clubhouse.
This is Hardee's Quarter-Pound Cheeseburger. Its dimensions, about 64.6